Let's start with the obvious. It will be either national or maybe a long shot a Labour win in October, but either outcome is as bad as the other. If you find it hard to imagine a government as bad as or worse than the present, then consider this. Luxton was virtually said he'll get in bed with China, and that alone will make any of the disastrous things the current Labour government has done pale in absolute significance. But what about co-governance? Well, if you really think that Luxton is going to stop co-governance, you're going to have to think again. Here is somebody who openly virtue signals he's learning Maori. Sure, you can argue I'm reading too much into it, and you can also point out that Luxton has said he is opposed to co-governance, but I don't believe that I am. My bet is he'll replace co-governance with something very similar, and probably call it something like racial equality. Luxton has also shown by the way he's treated his MPs that he is certainly no leader. Recall his recent treatment of Chris Pink when he played the role of a bullying and condescending boss, telling off an errant employee. And that's not the first time. Don't forget Luxton's appalling behaviour when dealing with National MP Maureen Pugh. His public criticism of his MP when she asked a very sensible question of Shaw, that's the Minister for Environment. Luxton is without doubt a manager with absolutely no skill, particularly political skill. Luxton at every political level seems a complete dick. Most observers agree Luxton is an Ardernite. If you have doubts, he was the chief executive of Air New Zealand when the decision to make and to Maorify our Air New Zealand carrier. All that in-flight Maori propaganda crap and video programs, even promoting the Maori name for William Shakespeare, that was all done under his watch. And then, of course, we have the Greens. One good thing you can say about the Greens is at least you know where the idiots gather and where they stand. If you want a government that is willing to destroy our economy in order to stop the planet from warming by 0.0001% of a degree, then vote Greens. You'll be in good company. They're idiots. But don't expect me to admire you. The Greens moved from the environment to Marxism, yet we see them with so much media coverage with woeful ideas, claiming they care more for the environment than we do. And some of their MPs only arrived in our country virtually yesterday, preaching to people whose DNA in this country goes back hundreds of years. And then, of course, we have ACT. What does ACT actually stand for? Does anyone really know? As a so-called Libertarian Party, they had opportunity to fully back the cannabis referendum. They didn't. They had the opportunity to oppose the lockdowns. They didn't. They had the opportunity to oppose the vaccine mandates. They didn't. They had the opportunity to talk to the parliamentary protesters. They didn't. In fact, with regard to lockdowns and vaccine mandates, this is ACT, actually supported them. In fact, with regard to the lockdowns and vaccine mandates, they actually supported them. ACT. Does anyone know what or whom they really support? No one seems to know, except they don't like poor people or superannuants. And then, of course, we have New Zealand First. It's been said that Peters was given no choice when he chose that Labour Party over National. English virtually told Peters that the Nats had no desire to give any concessions to New Zealand First, and at that point Peters walked away from English and the Nats. For people to suggest that the landslide victory to Labour at the last election is New Zealand First's fault is absolutely ridiculous. It was the silly old woman and the dissatisfied Nats that voted in favour of Ardern's Labour, giving that unprecedented majority victory, witnessing New Zealand First being voted out of government. And to be fair, no one could really have predicted just how bad this current Marxist Labour government have become. So what can I say about New Zealand First? During the Ardern Labour government's first term, New Zealand First showed what a very effective handbrake they were. So since Labour and National are as bad as each other and their policies virtually a mirror image of each other, National will need a strong supporter to give them the backbone and the courage to make sure they are constantly reminded of their duties to New Zealand, which is at least one very good reason to party vote New Zealand First. If you want to see the end of racist separation, co-governance and the antics and the lies from the Waitangi Tribunal, a party vote for New Zealand First certainly seems the most logical, doesn't it? New Zealand First has promised that they will fight in Parliament for English to be passed into law as our official language. New Zealand First has promised to make sure all government departments will once again be called by their English name. You see what is happening here? The health delivery to New Zealand, Maori or non-Maori, it doesn't matter to these social engineers, but the name of the service does matter to them. And also this new name, Essential Service in Health, are being prioritised on the basis of race. Their next move, yes, the Maori influence is now moving on this, that the social engineers now have another tier, equal importance, called Te Aka Whai Ora. And Aka, do you know what Aka means? It means creeping vine. We understand Luxton is learning Maori, and I honestly believe he has neither the intelligence nor even the ability to see the meaning of this new tier of Maori dominance. Is that not another convincing reason to party vote New Zealand First? And I think it's very important that we all see through Luxton and the Nats, because we do understand Luxton is learning Maori, and I honestly believe he has neither the intelligence nor even the ability or backbone to see the meaning of this new tier of Maori dominance. And that in itself is certainly a convincing reason, to me at any rate, to party vote New Zealand First.